Hello and welcome to Andy's Shed Live. This is series 15, episode number 13 for Sunday the 21st of April 2024. Hello everybody, welcome to the show. How are you? Hope you are doing well today. I'm just going to alter the lighting in here. There we go. I'm illuminated a little bit more evenly now. A little bit. Not entirely, but a little bit. Hello and welcome to the show. Last one for a few weeks, this one. I'll explain more later. But yeah, welcome aboard. We will get cracking on in just a moment. Who have we got with us though tonight? These are in the chat over on Odyssey at odyssey.com. We have got Miguel with us, we've got Gambo with us, we've got Wesley with us. I think that's about it for now. But yeah, so yeah, evening all, and welcome aboard. I know there's one or two people who said they weren't going to be on this week. So I'm just having a quick read of what you've all been writing, because I was having my tea. I had a bit of a late tea because I've been out at a stationary engine crank up today. Wesley says we haven't seen Christopher for a few weeks. Hope he's okay. I'm fairly sure he's okay, Wesley. I've had a couple of emails from him, so I think he's okay. Gambo says I've bought 2 phones at the car boot sale. Sent pics of one to Andy. The other was one I thought I sold, but it's got a different style resistor than the ones I use normally. I only got a few left out of the 200 I ordered over 5+ years ago. Says one of the phones is an old 706 ivory, and a Czechoslovakia Tesla phone from 1963 with a handle to wind the generator. Well, that's different. What it says, did you check if the 706 is Diacon? Which it may be. But Gambo says no, it looks like it's not Diacon. It looks like it was refurbished in 1977. Ah, unlucky. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So yeah, it's not a Diacon phone because it was refurbished in 77. But talking about Diacon stuff and refurbishing plastic and things, you may remember this that we had on last week. This is the cover to a key and lamp unit, and I've been working on it through the week, and it's kind of getting there. I've now rubbed down the joins that you can see on the top of there. At least I'm hoping you can see on the top of there. And can you see, and on the back there, and it's almost disappeared. Now it's not entirely disappeared, the crack on the back. You can still see it running. Right, I've got to make my hand work in reverse now. You can still see it running down here, so it runs up there and then up there, something like that, doesn't it? It does that sort of arrangement. So you can still kind of see it, but if I can shine the light on it, you'll see it is now fairly flush. Now it looks like there's been somebody doing ice skating on it. It is although it's a fairly smooth surface to the touch, it's not polished, as you can see. And the reason it's not polished is because I've been using a little bit of sandpaper and just doing that to rub it down. That top bit wants a bit more of a doing on it. But that is what I've been basically doing to it, to try and get it sorted. So, but the joint hasn't totally disappeared, because what I did after last week's show, I made up some acetone slurry. Yeah, some great acetone slurry. I actually found a bottle here on the desk, buried on the desk, of grey acetone slurry. It had dried up, but I put a bit more acetone in with it and re-liquefied it. So I made that into a kind of paste, if you like, a kind of thin-ish paste. Put that on top of the crack so it was raised up, so it filled in any little losses in the crack, and then rubbed it down. But I'm starting to wonder if I actually used the right colour of grey, because if you look on the back here, you can still see the crack, and it's just kind of the areas with the losses you can see. Now, the pale grey on GPO stuff changed. There are actually 3 shades of grey that they used on like 706 and 746 phones and stuff like this. There was a pale grey, there was a dark grey, and then there was another pale grey later on that was very subtly different. And I'm wondering if I've actually made this with the wrong pale grey. Why is my phone ringing? So, alright, that is going to get switched off for a bit. Right, so, yeah, so I'm wondering if I used the wrong pale grey on here. Because no matter how much I rub it down, it doesn't totally vanish. You see, you can still see it, but it is now perfectly smooth, that. So I think we're always going to be able to see a bit of a crack in there, but bearing in mind this was in 3 pieces when I got it, it's certainly better than it was, isn't it? Now what I will have to do, because I've rubbed away at this, I kind of colour restored it there. You can see it's more grey there and more yellowy here, so I will have to do the whole lot of it probably, but the idea is there, it is working. So, you can see there, it is going the way it's supposed to go. So it's been fairly successful. It's not as invisible as I would have hoped, and I'm almost certain it's because the grey acetone the grey in that acetone slurry was not quite the right shade of grey. I mean, it kind of looks it on the front here. I've not rubbed it down. Look, you can see it's a slightly different shade, but I thought it was only a different shade on here and on here. I thought it was only a different shade because the rest of it had yellowed, and I thought when I rubbed it down it'll all go the same colour, but that doesn't seem to be happening. So yeah, a little problematic, but we'll overcome it somehow. We will overcome it. So it's a lot of sanding. Bring it back down to level. But there. You see, it basically is. There's just a little bit there that hasn't filled. A little tiny bit on the top that hasn't filled. But it's a very, very small piece. So I'll get a fresh bit of sandpaper and I'll do these front corners. We'll knock these front corners down. I only use a tiny piece of sandpaper. Try and rub all ways so we don't make deep scratches in one direction. It's working better there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's still a sort of yellowy bit down each side. That's because I've not rubbed the middle down, the middle that was high. I've not rubbed it down quite a bit. We want those yellowy patches within the other to disappear. There we know it's flat. It's a very awkward shape to do this. Now this desk's a bit silly because it's got a curved front on it, and that doesn't really help at all, to be honest with you. There's a little bit there that's low. So I might have to put some more slurry on, because if you find any low spots, you then have to put some more slurry on and just do it again. A bit like body filler on a car, really. Very similar principle. So it's just a matter of rubbing. I'm trying to bring it to level. The best way to know is to feel, and you'll be surprised you can feel a very small amount of unevenness. Now that one actually worked quite a bit better. You see on this edge here where it's gone, where we've got it back to original colour, you can't see the joint at all there. So the crack is vanishing. And when it's, although this looks a bit white now, it will sort of tone down when it's polished, that. So. To polish it, you want something like T-cut. I used to use Brasso, but I'm having trouble getting liquid Brasso at the minute. It's all this wadding stuff. So I think I'm going to have to go to the auto spare shop and get some T-cut, which is a very sort of mild abrasive, but it is an abrasive nonetheless, that's used for taking the very top layer of paint off a car where the paint's oxidised. Well, that's exactly what's happened to this plastic. The top layer is oxidised, gone a funny colour. So we need to take the top layer of the plastic off, so we need to basically get some T-cut and use it for what T-cut is generally used for. Do this side bit a bit more. It is disappearing. You can see that little bit there where it's dark. That's because that bit is very slightly low and I've not taken the surface off that. Keep going at it. And it's a long and laborious process. You wouldn't do this unless you really had to with something. But it is possible. That's what I'm wanting to show you, that it is possible to do it, and basically hardly be able to see the crack anymore. I mean, you can actually see that more on the camera than I can see it here in reality. But I think we can probably make that crack totally disappear with a little bit more rubbing. To me, it's more or less gone. So, just proves that it can be done. Might as well have a go at doing the other side while I have a look what people up to in the chat. Where it says, is sandpaper not too abrasive? No, not at this stage, Wesley, because you want it to be very abrasive. It all depends what grit of sandpaper you're using. I don't know what this is because it's too small a piece to have got the number on it still. But it all depends what grit you're using, and yeah, basically you need it to be fairly abrasive because I've built it up here, you see, with this acetone slurry, and I need to be able to get that off. So yeah, it's too abrasive as a polish, but you know, you work your way down the sandpaper grits. If you need a really coarse one to start with, then you just take the very top off with the coarse stuff, and then use some finer stuff as you work your way through. And you can almost polish with sandpaper if you get it very, very fine. But when I've used the sandpaper, I tend to use a very fine grade of wire wool with some cutting compound on it, i.e. Brasso or T-cut, and that does polish it up. And then the last bit I do with the cutting compound and just a cloth. You can see that disappearing there. Well, it says I've generally used wet or dry and used it wet and worked my way down to 1500 grit before polishing. You can do it, yeah, that is the correct way to do it, really, but you can do it too slowly as well, and if you do it too slowly, you just make a lot more work for yourself. So it's getting it right, and bearing in mind this bit of sandpaper that I'm using, when I was taking the very top off this was a fresh piece of sandpaper. Now it's not, and it's less abrasive than it was 10 minutes ago. But you can get a feel for what it's doing, and when you get that feel for it, you just kind of get to know. But you do want something that is going to scratch the surface, because you want it to scratch that high bit off. So in the beginning you want to scratch the surface. It's only later that you want to polish the scratches out. And you can polish the scratches out again using acetone and chemically polish it rather than polish it with sandpaper. It is possible. It's hard work, but it is possible. But whether it's harder than actually physically sanding, I wouldn't like to say. Because sanding's alright when you're working on a flat surface, but when you're working on an awkward shape like this on the corner, sanding becomes a real pain to do. As you can see, I'm struggling to hold this, so it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but we're getting there. So you probably would be better to do it wet, but it makes a mess, and for the purposes of when I'm sat in front of a computer, it's not really practical to do it wet. But you probably would be better in that you could dunk your wet and dry paper in the water and make it more abrasive again by cleaning out the grains by dunking it in the water. You see, right, let me get a rag and just clean that off, clean the dust off it, and you'll see how it's how it's going. Right, so I mean, that one does want some more work on it. It's not entirely smooth, that's why you can see that one a bit still. But that corner is almost there. I've got a loss near the bottom edge there. Can you see that little dark bit? That is that bit there. That's a little lossy bit. So it does need some more filler on it basically. But other than that, when the whole thing is colour restored, it'll not be too bad. And I say it was in 3 pieces, so at least now it's back together and it's usable. Interestingly, on the back, where I've not done the filler because there weren't any losses on the back or anything, but where I've not done the acetone slurry, you can see it's a much better colour match from the get-go. On the inside. So yeah, it may be the acetone slurry that I got wrong, and that's why you can still see the crack. But the crack it looks much worse actually on the video than it does in reality. I'm quite surprised. It's way worse on the video than it is actually here in my own eyes. So yeah, the camera is a critic basically, but there it is. There's the case. So it's happening. Right. Gumbo says, I booked the 27th of May off to my 25th and 26th. I already asked off in case Blackpool is still on, and I'm legal to drive on the Monday. Lol. Yeah, I think it'll probably be alright for that, Gambo. Yeah, 27th of May, which is the bank holiday Monday, is looking like the day we may be doing the Blackpool experience, and I'm hoping that there are going to be some live streams actually come from Blackpool that day. I'm hoping we're going to have the technology to be able to live stream off Blackpool Prom that day, so that could be interesting. Wesley says the wet sanding, he says, it is indeed a messy job. Yeah, I've done it on a car. I've sanded the car down once, and yeah, it is a very very messy wet sanding. You're quite right though, Wesley. You probably would be better to do this with wet and dry and do that method. It's just not practical to do it where I am in front of a computer with all the electronics and that kicking around. But I might try it. I might put some more slurry on it, because there are just a couple of little places where there's still dings in it. So I might put some more slurry on it, and then when I've done that, we might be able to see a bit more of what it turns out like. But at least it's in one piece now, so at least the unit is theoretically usable, which is part of what we're trying to do. Because if I put that bit to one side a minute, we'll have a look at the unit itself, the chassis of it, which I've got down here. And this is just unbelievably complex. But since last week I've learned that these flip, these chassis. If you take that screw out there and the similar one at the other side, the front bit should flip forwards so you can get at the wiring. So, but I don't think you have to take it out. I think you just loosen it like that, and loosen this one here. I've not done it before, I just know the theory. And then I think it should, yeah, that then flips forward, and there you have it. And actually inside it, look, there's all of this all coiled up inside it, which is like a long line cord, but the wires in here, it's just phenomenal. I don't really know where to begin. There's just so much wiring in here. You'd need the end diagram for the wiring to see what the hell you were supposed to be doing here, but it is a lot. And of course they've all been cut, and this cable here, which is such a shame, because that basically means that I've got to remake a lot of cables. Roughly how many? Roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Well, they don't all go that way. 60, 70. There's probably about 70 connections that are actually down there. Not every one is connected up on here, so I don't know if it's been wired in some special way. So I would have to find out if anybody knows how these things are wired. If anybody's used to doing it, get in touch. But I'm not really intending using this, to be honest with you. It was just a thing as just a show, basically, to show how it used to be done. I'm not really intending wiring it up for use at this stage, but we've just got it in case that ever becomes the case. So yeah, there it is. Anyway, that's it. So we'll just shut that up again. Let the screws go back into their slots down there, and do them up again. And we'll put the case back on as well for now. What have I done with it? Just down here. So I put the front back on. In fact, it just drops on the case on this. Actually, this is better to put a case on than a blooming phone is. But yeah, it just sort of. Oh, what happened there? Didn't like the sound of that. Don't think it's cracked again anywhere. And then you just do up these two hidden screws in the back of here. And they magically hold it on. And it is magic. I can't tell you what the logic is of how this works, but it does work. So just go with it. And there you go. It's all back together. So that is the key and lamp unit. So I'm sure there's supposed to be some kind of lens across here that I've not got, and I've also got a lamp missing there. Now I don't know if I've got one of these lamps lurking about in my boxes of bits somewhere. I might have somewhere. Might have got one that I never quite realised what it was. But that is the key and lamp unit. So that's one thing that we've kind of, although it still needs some work doing on it, we've kind of proved what can be done with it. It doesn't actually look too bad as it's sat there, does it? But you can see where the colour is back to the proper colour there, and a bit on that corner there, and that bit on the top there, and you can see the colour is back to the proper colour there. So the rest of it needs to be colour restored as well, and all polished back. So yeah, right. So that's that. Shall we open a box? I've got a box. Here it is. Right, here's a box. Shall we open this box? I need something to just sort of break through the label-y thing. Oh, hang on. One of those were people who sent it, obviously, decided that they own a sellotape company, and they are going to use as much of it as they possibly can, to the extent that you can't see which way the box actually opens. I think it opens across here. Oh, it opens there. Right, okay. It opens there. You don't know what's in the box yet, do you? That's just dawned on me. I've not told you what's in it. You'll be impressed if it's what I think it is. Right. So here then we are. You ready? You're ready. Right. Let's put that down a minute. The trouble is with this room, I've not got much space in it. Here's a clue. What do you think it might be in this box? There's a clue. Okay. Any ideas, anyone? What it is? Oh no, but nobody said anything in the chat. They're all waiting with anticipation. there's another clue. One item. I'm going to put that on the floor for a minute. And another item. You're going handsets. People are saying handsets. If you're saying handsets, sort of, but no. Right. Are we giving up on what it might be in the box? Right, let's get one. There's two of them. I've never seen one of these before. Not in Bakelite. I've seen the later plastic version, but I've not seen a Bakelite one before. So here indeed is a Bakelite handset. Yeah. Now no, that's broken. That apparently is what I've been sent this for, because that one's broken. It's on it. Why they didn't just put it on, I don't know. Maybe it's stuck on and they're leaving it to me to get it off. But the exciting thing is still in here. Because it's one of those. A 246, is it? And this has got a date of 1964 on the back of it. I think that's when it was refurbished, probably. It is the early version of a pendant phone. Now I've got a plastic one that I did a thing on ages and ages ago, and I actually got the plastic one working. It took a lot of wiring. It was quite complicated to get it working, but I did get it working. So I'm hoping I can also get these working. Now what I've not got for these, I've not got the draw dial unit, and I've not got the box of tricks that goes between the two. Now the box of tricks that goes between the two is basically a bell set. I can make one of those, which is what I did previously. But I need the draw dial, so if anybody's got any draw dials that they're willing to sell, particularly if they're sort of Bakelite era, then but even if they're just ordinary sort of 700 series era, let me know. I'll be interested. I want two, because I've got two of these. So here's the one. I'm going to put it on its side so it's a little bit easier to deal with. There's the one. And what I'm suspicious about on these, that one, the cord looks genuine on it. On this one it doesn't, because this one I've got here the cord is kind of, I might get it unwrapped. The cord is a kind of looser twist. On it, and I think this might be one that somebody's made. This one. Now, apparently, the cords on these were originally elasticated. So these are probably not the original cords, but Here's another one. Somebody's doing a really good job of polishing these. But you see, here's another one. This is a nice one. This one. Everything's pretty much okay with this one. So that one is okay. But if you look at that cord, can you see how loose it is? You can kind of see light through it. So I'm suspecting. I mean, it's well done. It's neat. But I'm suspecting somebody's made that one. If they have, they've made a good job of it. So that's a good one. But this other one, so I'm going to put the good one out of the way a minute, so I don't do anything silly. This one, however, we need to sort out this broken handset. It appears to be stuck. I mean, that's got a tiny chip out of that end, but to be honest, I'm not too worried about that. But this, the whole thing is moving. You know, the whole innards of the end of the handset is moving. So how? Oh! Is it all going to wiggle out? Now, as far as I know, this should just screw off here, but what happens is they get gummed up because the threads that they're running on, unlike in the 700 series handset, the threads are metal and they kind of oxidize, and that kind of sticks the Bakelite cap onto the threads. And I think somebody's probably had a go at getting this off, and they've broken it. But am I going to have to smash this cap off to get this good cap on? That's the question. Does anybody know the answer? It's a tricky one, that. So how do you get the caps off these when they're stuck? Does anybody know? I think you've basically got to break this one off to get into it. That's what I think, but I'm not going to do it until somebody can tell me a bit more, in case there is another way of doing it. So it's over to you on that one. If anybody's got any experience of doing that, well, it says, I've got a wooden bell set that I use as a central bell on a Revelation that you will be welcome to. I'm assuming you could sort out the transmission circuitry from a 746 or similar. That's exactly what I did before, Wesley. I used the transmission circuit out of a 746, and it was a plastic set that I had before. So I used the transmission circuitry out of a 746. I used the circuit board, slightly modified. You have to put an extra terminal onto it, and then I'd got another plastic cased bell set from the 70s, or I think it was just a bell actually, not a bell set. So I used the cover off that, and I think the base plate off that, and then I put the circuit board out of the 746 into it, and then wired it all up, and basically it worked. So this will be an interesting project to do. Right, what are folks saying? So I've got a wooden bell set. You would be welcome to. I don't think it should be a wooden bell set, these, Wesley. I think basically the bell set that you should have with these, I think, is a bell set 25, like you have with the candlestick. I think that is basically what you should have with these, is a bell set 25. Now I've not got any 25s, but I've got some 26s that haven't got the induction coil in. I am looking at a way of putting a modern induction coil out of a 746 into them, because I saw somebody on eBay selling bell sets with modern induction coils in, and I think that's what they were. I think they were coils out of 746s. So I am when I get a spare minute, I am going to do a bit of a experiment and see if that works. What it says: dunk it in a mug of boiling hot water to get the cap off. Will that not damage the sort of little little speaker in the end of it though, Wesley? If I dunk it in hot water, will that not damage that? And he also says, don't pull on it or you might pull out the captive fixings that the receiver terminates on. Good point. Well, something's loose anyway in here. Because it does, the whole thing does move about. So, see? So something is loose in there already. But as you say, a mug of hot water might do it, but will that damage the electronics in there? That's the, because is it not just like a tiny speaker, you know, with like a paper element on it and there? I'm not really sure in these. No, it's not, is it? No, it's not. It's that thing that you slide off, that plate thing that you slide off. So maybe it won't damage it. What do you think? What do you think? Will it damage it? Well, it says, I use the hot water method successfully when getting an earpiece off an Ivory 300. Gambo says, there's not many 246 pendant phones around. He says, I sold 2 a couple of years ago when money was tight. Maybe these are them, Gambo. Maybe these are them. These actually came from somewhere in Liverpool. Did you sell them in Liverpool? Well, it says there's an emulator available, he believes, for a bell set. Well, it says it looks like a later receiver which is potted, so I doubt you'll do any damage. And he correctly says it's a diaphragm that you slide on. Yeah, I've remembered that now. A bit late. Yeah, it's like Gambo says as well, it's a metal plate, isn't it, that slides on and off. So provided dry it okay and don't leave it to go rusty, that should be doable, shouldn't it? So yeah, I will try it off camera when we've done, and I'll get back to you next time and let you know how I've got on with it. I'm hoping the worst that will happen is this broken cap will break a little bit more. I'm hoping that's the worst thing that will happen. But what's the date on it? It is a 164. And does it say 38 or does it say 58? My eyesight's terrible. Who wants to have a look at this? Do you want to have a... You can probably see better than me if I get this camera in focus. 58. 164, 58. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Now we'll try it off camera. But we've got two of them, and I'm going to try and get them both working. I really like that bit of them. I like the sort of Art Deco-iness of the sort of diamondy, triangle-y things on it. Really like that bit. I don't like they've been used. The polished bit is absolutely bob on. Somebody's polished these up and made a very good job of it. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Really good. I'm liking them a lot. So yeah, two of those. So that'll be a project to get them going. Now I've got to find a couple of those desk drawer dial type things to keep them going, and that I might just have a little look actually, see if there are any kicking around. Shall we have a look? See if we can find any. Let's have a little look. No. You see, these dials are very hard to come by because I think they just used to get left fitted under desks when the phones got ripped out and that. I think the dial remained under the desk. Which is a bit of a downer. No, there's not obviously any around at the moment. Oh well, it's worth a try. So yeah, so that's what we've got. That's what's arrived. Oh, something else has arrived as well. It's getting a bit silly now, this. I don't think anybody buys these other than me, and I don't know why I buy them, but it's another book set. I must have got about 5 or 6 of these now. Yeah, they are hilarious. They've got a dial with holes so small you can't get your finger in them. This one does seem to run about the right speed, 1001. So yeah, probably pretty good then. I'm never sure what they're supposed to have on the end. This has got this on the end, and I think every one I've got has got some different form of plug or crocodile clips or something on the end. I don't think there's two that have got the same thing on the end. So if anybody knows what these are supposed to have on the end, let me know. This looks, it might be right actually. I imagine that plugs into something in an exchange somewhere, and then you pull it out with that bit under there. You get your finger around that bit and pull it out. But yeah, so that's another one of those. That's the only other thing that's turned up over the last couple of weeks, telephone related. So yeah, you're all up to date now. We are rapidly running out of space here, so I'm going to be a bit careful what I fetch now. Right, what are people up to in the chat? Gambo says, I can't remember who bought my pendant phones, to be honest. We'll have to look to see when I sold them. It'd be hilarious if these are the two that you sold, Gambo. It says, if you find any desk dial, pass one on. Been after one for a long time, and I always miss out when any come in Fleabay. I'll keep you in mind, Gambo. You'll be the first to know when we find any, because they do pop up occasionally, but they don't pop up very often. I think it's partly that I don't often search on desk dial or drawer dial or whatever you want. I don't think people know what to list them as either. Wesley says there was a new old stock one on eBay this last week. And he says what they should have on, what the linesman's phone should have on the end is a couple of crop clips, if it was for a linesman. Yeah, that would be the most universally useful thing, wouldn't it? A couple of crop clips. I wondered if they should have some sort of socket on the end that you could then put different ends on. But I don't know. Gambo says, are you able to see the pictures I sent today by chance? If you sent them today, I've not seen them because I've been out all day, but I can have a look for them. So just bear with me a sec. Where are we? I'll have a look, Gambo, and let you know. My email is just opening. It's on a bit of a go slow at the moment. Right, where are we? Right, where? Oh yeah. Oh, I had a message from somebody called Billy. It says, hi Andy, I have a lamp and switchboard similar to the one on your live today, which I'm watching right now. I am just missing the case and some wiring. Let me know how I would be able to send you some pics of the switchboard to see if it's worth saving. All the best, Billy. Right, Billy. Get a pen. I'll give you an email address in a minute. Okay. So get a pen. I'll actually say the email address, because if I write it down anywhere, like in the description or anything, I get loads of spam. But I'll say it in a minute. So get a pen. Right. I'm looking for something from Gambo from today. And I can't. Oh, there. Right. Look at this for a £5 at car boot sale. Oh. It's a Czechoslovakian telephone. Right, were they both a fiver? Right, I can try and show you these photos of Gambos. Right, we'll have to see if this is going to work today. And they are going to be sideways on because they've come out sideways on my screen. But bear with me. Right, so these are what Gambo has found at the car boot sale. There's that from Czechoslovakia, apparently. Which is what it says on there. Tesla. Made in Czechoslovakia. In 1963 by the looks of it on the back. That back looks kind of familiar from somewhere. And there it is with what looks like a 300 series at the side of it. Quite a nice 300 series, a dial 12 on it. No clue why they've come out sideways, but there you go. But you get the idea, don't you? So yeah, now they were a very good find, I would say. They're Gambo, a very good find. Oh, it says it's one phone. So the other ones are red herring. The other one just happened to be sat there. The 300 series. It's the Czechoslovakia one that was a fiver at the car boot. I can believe that was a fiver actually, because when you get a phone with no dial on it, they never seem to fetch much money. And I think it's because people don't know what to do with them. They think, oh, I can't use them. Which, to a certain degree, they're right. But yeah, phones with no dial on don't seem to fetch much money. And I think a lot of 300 series that you see around now, I think would originally have been the ones with no dial on, and have had a dial put on at a later date, because you see a lot of 300 series with dial 21s on, which some of them would have had in later life perhaps, but not that many. And you do see a lot with them, and I think, I wonder if these were CB phones where they've put a dial on later on just to try and sell them. And indeed sometimes it is, because if you buy one, you often find the dial's not wired up on the back. That happened to me once. Yeah. Gambo says the 300 is my pride and joy. Quite rightly so, Gambo. It's a nice phone. That it is a nice unit, that one. Yeah. Who was it that was after an ivory one? Was it Dominic who was after an ivory one? There have been some ivory ones around at reasonable, I'm not saying cheap, but reasonable prices recently. Gambo says, I would not research the Czechoslovakian phone at the moment. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I've not seen one like that before. It's a new one on me, that. So I can't tell you what that is. It's a totally unknown one to me. I'm not very good with my sort of European stuff though, because I don't tend to collect the European phones and that. I tend to only do British ones in general, except for the sort of American stuff, or the stuff that is based on a British phone that is in all parts of the world. But I do like the American 500 series. I really do like those. From an engineering point of view, you know, how it's put together and how repairable it is, I think the American 500 series phones take some beating. They really do. They're a really, really, really good design. And you get an American 500, I've said this before, you get an American 500 series and you get a GPO 706 side by side. The American 500 knocks spots off the GPO 706. I mean, of course, what I always say is just a matter of getting the case on and off. It's far easier on a 500 series than it is on a 706. Far easier. Yeah, it's odd, but yeah, you'd think a 706 would be a development of a 500 series, being as the 500's been around a lot longer, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Right, okay, anyway, we are digressing a bit. Gamal says, I need a rotary dial for my black 500. Yeah, that's right. Right, now, there's options there, Gambo. A dial for a 500. You won't know this because you've not got the dial, but is it one that should have a clear finger wheel, or should it have a black metal finger wheel? Actually, I have a wall phone here that I've been putting back together for a long time because it kind of fell apart in the hand, and there were a lot of bits that came out of it that I don't quite know where they go, but this, oh, I don't need the other bit, it's not attached. This demonstrates quite well. This has got the old-fashioned American metal finger wheel. Is it one of those that you want? I think they changed over in the 60s, the plastic ones. But is it one of those that you're after? I've not got there's no legible date or anything on the back of this, unfortunately. But has it been butchered for? No, it's not been butchered for modular, this, so it must have come out of service a long time ago. But yeah, I have got a couple of black 500 series in the collection that have got these on as well. And they are the only 500 series phones that I've got that have got metal coloured dials on. And I think in the early days of coloured 500s, even if the case was coloured, so let's say the case was yellow, the dial and the surround of the dial were black, and the handsets were all black. It was literally just the case that was coloured on the early ones. I think I'm right in saying that. I'm not a massive expert on American stuff, so maybe somebody watching in the States will be able to tell us. But I've been working on this for a long time because a switch pile, which is a load of contactors in it, all stacked up, it all fell apart on me before I had a chance to work out what order all the bits went in. So that's why this is still in bits, because it's a long-term project to work out how to get it back together. But that dial, is that the sort of dial you want, or is it a plastic one that you want? That's the question. I mean, neither appear very often over here, but I will certainly keep my eye out. Oh, Gambo says it had a clear finger wheel, but the centre had been forced off and broke off. Yeah, people don't know how to get them off. When you know, you know, but when you don't know with a 500 how to get the finger wheel off, it's a pig when you don't know, because you have to turn it to a certain point, stick a pin in it, turn it a bit further, and it goes click and comes off. Yeah, anybody who's got one and knows how to do it will know exactly what I'm talking about. When you know, it's easy. When you don't know, it's hell on earth to figure it out how to do it, and people do try and just lever them off. But yeah, if you've got a clear finger wheel, it will be easier to find than one of those metal ones, I would have thought. But you might end up importing that from the States, I feel. I won't even want to try and 3D print one, because the mechanism for getting it on and off is such a complicated sort of notches and slots on the inside surface of it that I wouldn't really want to try and 3D print one. Yeah. Somebody in the US will send you one, I'm sure. And the postage won't be that much on one of those, surely. I know postage from the US is crazy, but surely just for a finger wheel it wouldn't be. I'm assuming it's just the finger wheel bit that you want. Yeah, can't be that mad, can it? Don't think I've got any American spare bits. I just tend to get phones that are American. They never seem to come with any spares, the American stuff. Gamma says, yeah, that's what I don't want to do, because it's mental, the postage costs. Yeah. What we need is somebody who's going to America so we can fill their suitcase when they come back. Time to leave all their clothes behind in America. We'll buy them a new wardrobe when they get back. We'll just fill the case up with phone bits. Unfortunately, I don't know anybody who's going there anytime soon. Perhaps I should have a trip. Perhaps if the Great Blackpool trip on the, what day are we doing it? 29th, 28th, whatever. Perhaps if the Great Blackpool trip goes well, perhaps the next trip should be to like New York or somewhere to bring bits of phone back. Yeah, because remember, I need the innards of a payphone as well. That's a long story. Gammo says I need a finger wheel and coil spring. Where was the coil spring then? Because the coil spring isn't immediately accessible when you take the finger wheel off, is it? It says it's from the 500 that had the weird sound when plugged in. Yeah, leave it with me. That I'll have to see what we can find. I haven't really got any contacts in America that I can. Well, I know people in America, but I don't know people who are phone experts in America. But yeah, leave it with me. I'll see what I can do. But yeah, right. Okay, I think that is probably almost as far as we go for today. But yeah, it's been an interesting one again, and we've got quite a bit done. I've made a humongous mess on the floor down here, bits of cardboard and packaging and bubble wrap and things. I used to sit when I was a kid. Used to get meringue nests from Marks and Spencer's. It was after tea on a Sunday with creamy, and they used to have a little bit of this bubble wrap in. I used to sit all Sunday night going. Except back then in the 70s and early 80s, they made a louder pop than they do now. But there's something just very satisfied about sitting there popping these. I used to sit all Sunday night doing it. Yeah, alright, that's enough of that. Alright. Okie dokie. Right, as I say, that is, I think, about as far as we go for today. Thanks to everybody for taking part again, and also thanks to those who are sort of dropping in by email as well. That's absolutely brilliant. That email address that I promised you is andy@coalpress.net. That's Andy, ANDY, the @thing, Coalpress. Call as in telephone call, and press as in press the button. CALLPRESS, all a word, .net. Andy@coalpress.net. That is the email if you want to send us any photos or anything, or if you want to, like, I don't know, send us money, whatever, yeah, money, bits of American phone for Gambo. Andy@coalpress.net. Right, okay, that is, as I say, about as far as we go today. Thanks to everyone. Oh, I just realised, Gambo, I just realised it's a dial like that you want, isn't it? It's one of those. Yeah. This is the pink, not pink, Princess. Have you seen this phone before? Have you seen this before? This is the Princess phone that was pink, but it's not pink. It's actually a kind of beigey sort of colour. You see on the top there, it's different colour. That's because I've taken the paint off, because when I got it, it was painted pink, this, and you can see there that where some of the paint had come off it. So I had to either repaint the pink or redo it. But I don't know if this was pink originally in America, because Americans do paint their phones. You know, the companies in America do take a phone in, and rather than putting a new coloured case on it if they want to change the colour when they refurbish it, they do actually just paint the old case. So I don't know if that's what they've done here. This was the Bell system. This was Western Electric who had this. But it seems quite well done, because it has got a pink cord on it as well, although it is a modular cord, so maybe somebody could have just fitted that for a laugh. But yeah, so it's going back to being that colour, having been that colour. So we're trying to remove the pink on that. But what I wanted to show you was that dial, because I think they're all pretty standard on American things. It's one of those that you want, isn't it, Gambo? So we'll have a look and see if we can find one. And by the way, if anybody wants to find a American Princess phone in the UK, good luck. I've seen two in the history of time. This is one of them, and the other one is in a drawer somewhere here. So yeah, the American Princess. Okie dokie, right, there we go. Right, so yeah, as I was saying, that is about it for today. Thanks to everybody for watching and taking part and doing stuff again. Sorry once again that we haven't got the chat on screen, but it's all gone a bit weird. The chat. Now we are off for a couple of weeks now. Let me get my diary out. Oh, hang on, I've turned that off. Got to wait for my phone to turn on again, because somebody was making phone calls, so I switched it off, didn't I? Obviously somebody who wasn't watching the stream. Why were they not watching, I wonder? They deserve to get hung up on if they're not watching the show, don't they? Right, bear with us a minute. We're just powering up here. It takes a while for a Unihertz Titan to come to life. Right, where are we? Right. So it is the 21st today. Next Sunday which is Sunday the 28th, I am at a stationary engine rally. I will be at Parsley Hay up in the hills of Derbyshire on Sunday the 28th. The following Sunday, that is the 6th of May, I will be out and about rallying again with the vintage stationary engines. I will be at Baslow that day, which means that the next time we will have a show will be Sunday, May the 12th. Okay, so put that in your diary. So we're not on April the 28th. We're not on May the 5th, but we are on May the 12th. Yeah, we're on May the 12th. So put that in your diary. We will return on the 12th of May, and if you know anybody that's not around tonight, then let them know, please, that we're not on now till the 12th of May. I am hoping there will be some YouTube premieres on next week and the week after, but because they're YouTube premieres, they will only be on YouTube. So be sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube, and they will be on at 6:30, and they will have the old YouTube chat alongside them. So if any of you guys are here watching them at 6:30 next week when I'm not here, you will still be able to have a chat amongst yourselves in the YouTube chat, which will be good, won't it? Right, so that is, as I say, about it for now. Gambo, so I've sent a picture for you of the 500 so you can see what I mean. Alright, well, before we go then, we'll have a quick look at that. Right, bear with me a minute. Alright, where is it? American phone. Oh yeah, he has got some bits missing. Yeah. Right, let me make it so you can see it. Yeah, it says, this is the phone that I received with the broken finger wheel and the spring was loose. Right. Right, okay. Yeah. Not ideal, really, is it? So, there is what Gambo needs the bits for. That's what he's got. It's fairly obvious what he wants in it. It's the finger wheel, and I think it's the spring behind the finger wheel that he wants. It's not a coil spring. It's a flat or flat-ish piece of metal, isn't it, Gambo? I think. It's the thing that you press down. What you want is the thing that you press, the springy bit that you press down when you put the pin through the hole in the finger wheel, and then it releases it off those lugs that you can see in the middle of the picture there. So that's the bit you want, I think. Yeah. Interesting. We'll have to see what we can find. But American parts don't often turn up in the UK. But full phones do, for some reason, relatively often. So, I don't know. What I will say, Gambo, is they used these in Ireland as well. If you see a 500 series that's just got numbers around it and no letters on the bezel, it's an Irish one. So if one of those turns up, you might be able to get that quite cheaply and use some of the parts of it. because I believe they are the same. I'm not 100% certain, but I think they are. But they did use them in Ireland, so keep an eye out for an Irish one, because obviously the postage will be a lot less for an Irish one. Right, okay, that is about all we've got time for. It's 2050 and I'm about to turn back into a pumpkin. Gambo says he's not sure what the spring is. He says because there was a coil spring that came with the bits with the phone. Right, maybe it should have a coil spring in it. Until I take one apart, Gambo, I can't quite remember what should be in there. I'll have to go and have a look. I'll have to take one apart and go and have a look and see. But yeah, I'll get back to you on that one, and I'll keep an eye out for some bits. But for now, that is about it, folks. I say thanks for taking part again. We will see you on, what did I say, May 12th? Did I say May 12th? My memory is shocking. Yeah, Sunday the 12th of May. We will be back for another Andy's Shed Live on Sunday the 12th of May. So until then, have a fantastic couple of weeks out there, whatever you are doing. Remember, andy@coldpress.net, that is the email if you want to send us an email. Failing that, you can go to the website and find the contact form on the website, which is here, andyshed.coldpress.net. And remember, we've also got the forum, which is here, gpotelephones.probos.com. And if you're not a member already, you can join us as a member on Patreon for basically £1 a month, which is patreon.com. In fact, I think it's actually $1 a month, not £1 a month, so it's a bit less than £1 a month. It's www.patreon.com/AndyShed if you want to join up on there. And as a famous supermarket says, every little helps. Right, that is as far as we go for tonight. Thanks to everybody for making it such a diverse and interesting one today. We will see you, as I say, on the 12th of May, when hopefully we'll have found some bits for Gambo and we'll have more news about Blackpool. As far as I'm concerned, Blackpool, Gambo, late May Bank Holiday Monday, Blackpool is on. But I do need to talk to Dominic, who I've not managed to get in touch with yet, and he's not been on today, because I think he's out somewhere today, and knew he was going to be out somewhere today. But if anybody else wants to take part in the thing in Blackpool, on the late May Bank Holiday Monday, is it 31st of May, or 30th, 31st, something like that? The late May one, anyway. If anybody else wants to take part in it, do get on the website and get in touch. Using the form you'll find on there, and just say you want to take part in the Blackpool thing, and we'll tell you when and where we're going to meet up, and hopefully what's going to be happening. And if you can't get to Blackpool on that day, make sure that it's going to be a day when you're in front of a computer, because like I say, we are hoping to do some live feeds from Blackpool. It's going to be a bit of a technical fact-finding thing, but we are hoping to do some live stuff from Blackpool on that day. Yeah, so walk on the wild side, eat your heart out, if anybody knows who he is. Right, I'm off, so I'll see you in 2 or 3 weeks' time. Bye for now.